In this video tutorial, we'll be taking a look at 3 different digital marketing automation platforms: Zoho Marketing Automation, Constant Contact, and Mailchimp. Before I get started though, I do want to be transparent. I am a Zoho partner, but I will try to be the least biased as possible as I'm reviewing these 3 different products. Feel free to skip ahead, but what we'll be covering in this video as we compare the 3 different products. First, we'll go ahead and take a look at audience or contacts, how you can go ahead and bring in contacts, import your mailing list. So we'll also cover list and segmentation. Next, we'll go ahead and take a look at the email builder and the various features that these email builders include. After that, we'll go ahead and take a look at journeys, automations, workflows. These products call them by different names, but we'll go ahead and look at how we can create a drip campaign, create that nurturing email. And then we'll go ahead and take a look at pricing. And then finally, we'll go ahead and take a brief look at the various integrations these products have to offer. Let's go ahead and jump in. We'll go ahead in each video. If you want to skip ahead, we'll start with Zoho Marketing Automation. Then we'll go ahead and take a look at Constant Contact. And then after that, Mailchimp. So inside of Marketing Automation, we'll go ahead and get started first. Here we can go ahead and see we have our contacts, not audiences. This is where we can go ahead and manage all of our contacts. This means adding contacts manually or importing lists. Let's say you're connected to a CRM, in this case Zoho. They would pull up on your contacts dashboard and also pull into all contacts. The other platforms also have the capability of integrating with your CRM software, whether it's Salesforce, Zoho, so you can pull in all of your contacts from your various modules. Here in View Contacts, we can go ahead and add contacts, single contact, import from a file like a CSV or a cloud file, such as Google Drive or Work Drive. So if we add a single contact, we can go ahead and here see we can add the email address, first, last name, a salutation, and then if they're marketing, non-marketing, maybe we have to import some unsubscribes from another platform, we can go ahead and manage that here. Marketing automation also allows for topic management. This allows you to set various topics such as promotions, newsletter, marketing. So when you're sending out various emails, a user can choose to unsubscribe from a topic rather than from the whole mailing list altogether. And we've got some additional information. And we'll go ahead and close this. We can also manage lists. Lists for all platforms are going to be static. These are lists that are manually updated and added. Segments are going to look at tags or fields, various data input. Maybe it's, a company. You can go ahead and segment users based on their various field they have filled out. Even if they're not pulled in from a CRM makes life easier because you can segment from multiple fields. And as those fields change or get updated, maybe they're added or removed from a segment. But you can also do it in import as long as that file has all of these various fields. You can go ahead and segment based on those fields that you're pulling in. And then we have topics, which we just covered. Next, if we go ahead and jump over to Constant Contact, here if we go to audiences, we can go ahead and choose contacts. And from here, we can go ahead and add a contact. And we can choose to add multiple contacts or a single contact. Multiple is just going to give you a list. Or if you have a file, you can also go ahead and import your CSV file to import, your thousands of contacts you might be importing for your mailing list. As I mentioned before too, you also have a ton of different options down here of other platforms that you might be integrating with to pull those contacts in. Once you have that set up, Constant Contact has lists and segments. So you can also create a segment or a list based on a field update. So whereas list is manually added to your mailing list, if we choose segment, we can go ahead and see by default some of the fields we might want to be thinking about as we update our CSV file. We can go ahead and add criteria, and we can look at the various criteria fields they have available for us here. Next, if we look at Mailchimp, similar to Constant Contact, also called audience. Here we can go ahead and see our audience dashboard, and we can go ahead and add contacts. So we can go ahead and import from another service. This is going to be your Zoho, Salesforce, etc. We can import from a CSV file, or we can go ahead and copy and paste. So if we copy and paste, we can go ahead and see that it gives us a format to go ahead and bring in contacts. Next, we have segments. Tags are going to be your list for the most part. If you have tags, It's basically applying tags to create a list based on those tags, but it can also be used to segment as well. And just like constant contact, we can see here by default, there's a handful of fields. So from these fields, we can go ahead and choose how we want to segment. And then we have the and or conditions. Just remember, and means both of these statements have to be true, whereas or only one of the statements has to be true. And we have a whole other video on conditional logic and statements. So that's going to wrap it up for contacts and audiences for these three platforms. Honestly, all three of them are pretty much identical on how you bring in contacts. You have a little bit more customization with marketing automation, but you can always add those fields on the back end as well that you want to sync with from your various platforms. Both Constant Contact and Mailchimp also have similar features like Zoho Marketing Automation to manage your topics, where a user can update their profile to choose which categories they want to opt into as far as their mailing list goes. So next, let's go ahead and take a look at the email builder. On all three though, before I get started, library, where we manage our assets, we can always upload assets with My Files. Zoho Marketing Automation has a handful of other options such as Google Photos or Giphy. So if we look at My Files here, we can see I've uploaded a couple images. And I'll point this out before we look at the builders on each. Same with Constant Contact. If we come here under Assets, we can go ahead and look at the library and see that I've loaded in a couple images here as well. And then same if we go to Content, and we can look at the images we have uploaded on Mailchimp. So let's go ahead and look at the builder on all three platforms. So inside of marketing automation, we'll take a look at marketing campaigns, and then we'll click on email and we'll create our first email campaign. So we'll just briefly look at these builders and the various options they have, and we'll create just the top part of our newsletter. As you can see, we have different options here, like connecting Shopify. Maybe we want to add some card options to this email campaign. But for all of these, we're just going to look at the simple builder and look at the various options we have. So all of this is going to be standard across all three platforms. You're going to have your sender address, your subject line, who it's from. But let's just look at the builder itself. So inside of marketing automation, you can see we're presented with a handful of templates to get us started. These are going to be based on a basic layout builder. Now, if we build our own, you can see we don't have that option to use the drag and drop builder. If I click on HTML, it's going to pull up a text editor to drop in HTML. As we can see here, go ahead and close the editor. Same with plain text or uploading files from a computer. So for marketing automation, let's go ahead and use a blank template. So as this loads, we can go ahead and see here we have our drag and drop builder. So we have the different elements that we can go ahead and throw onto our email. So for our newsletter, if you subscribe for our newsletter, I'm just going to build it out real quick. So we have our image. So we'll go ahead and drop in our header here. We'll use this image. And we can see that currently it's set to fit, but maybe we wanted a banner to stretch across. And we can just go ahead and drop in zenatta.com as the URL. Pretty straightforward. Next, we'll hit back there. Maybe we want a little spacer, give a little color in between. So we'll make this the background gray, so it kind of blends in and gives that illusion. Next, maybe we want a text and an image. So drop in, we recently launched our health check. So we'll use our Zenatta health check image. Oh, that's way too big though. Maybe we want to make it smaller, drop it in the middle. Maybe we want to adjust this a little bit to the left. And then from here, make it small again. Oh, that doesn't work. So let's do fit. And we can add some padding too. So if we wanted to, we can add some padding to this as well. And then we can go ahead and add a header. It's now live. We could hyperlink this. Zoho.com. I don't have the link on me, but you get the point. We can go ahead and bold it. Up here, we can go ahead and change the color. And as you can see, there are some minor glitches, but overall we can get it reset sometimes when you change things. And then down here, we could just add some basic text. We are excited to announce
Click the check.
It's now live. And if you are using Zoho CRM, we recommend checking out our Zoho CRM health check. And then maybe I want to add a header too. So here I could go ahead and take some text. We'll do some large text. As you can see, we have different elements here, and it's a little finicky, but there we go. And we can just call this announcements, and we can go ahead and center that. So now I have, various elements. Maybe I want to take this element and clone it, and then, move this down below. And then maybe, from here, we can go ahead and clone this and drag this here. We can call this Zoho News. And as you can see, the builder is pretty simple to use. We can take this whole section now and clone it. Maybe I like this formatting, and I can go ahead and click on this section and move it down here. And now I've got a template to build out the rest of my sections. But overall, the builder is pretty straightforward. Lots of different options in here. We can update our footer, so we can create a footer and customize our footer. This is the opt-out. We can also take various elements and bookmark them. So custom footer. So maybe we got our footer looking how we want it to. And then later on, when we create new email templates, if we're not cloning a template, we can go ahead and just drag and drop something we've already created. So that's the builder for, that's the builder here for Zoho Marketing Automation. It's got lots of different features. And of course, if we look at the text too, you always have that option too to drop in some custom HTML to really get that custom look and feel that you're looking for, that the builder might not always offer, which is important. So next, let's go ahead and take a look at the Constant Contact builder. So if we jump into Constant Contact, under Channels, we'd go ahead and select Emails. From here, we'd go ahead and create an email. Just like marketing automation, you have your different templates you can choose from. You have your pre-designed templates with graphics already loaded in. One thing I wanted to point out, though, that is different, that's not included with Mailchimp or marketing automation, is this convert to PDF. Extremely nice feature, saying how a lot of freelance designers will often send you a PDF format. Sometimes HTML if you request it, but it's nice to save yourself a lot of the grunt work of having to manually build it out and let the builder interpret the PDF and build it out for you. So let's go ahead and start with a blank template. And we'll look at the different elements inside of Constant Contact. So since we're going to do the newsletter, looking at the different blocks in marketing automation, it's called elements. We can see we have text, image, button, pretty much all the same, the divider, the spacer, your social links. One that's slightly different is this read more. If you have an article with a lot of text, I like how they have this pre-design. But just like marketing automation too, you have your layouts built out within the builder. In case I missed that, it's under the layouts tab and not the elements. So let's go ahead and create the newsletter real quick, just like we did before. So we'd go ahead and move this up, and we drop in our image, and we can go ahead and see I already have the banner there for the weekly newsletter. And let's go ahead and remove the padding. And now what we would do is, rather than hit banner, we would just simply drag it and size it to the size we'd like. Next, we'll go ahead and drop in the link. So it's to a web page. One thing I do like about this, that this enable click segmentation right below is built in to when you're adding a hyperlink. Because oftentimes you don't see this until the back end of the software. So in marketing automation, once you've created the email campaign before you're going to send it, then you can go ahead and add this feature. But I like how it's built directly into the builder itself. Next, let's go ahead and add our spacer like before. And we're going to go ahead. Another thing I like too is to edit the layout. You can go ahead and create your different colors directly here. And now if we drop in our text box, we can go ahead and create our header. So we had announcements, I believe. And we'll go ahead and center this. And we're going to make it bold. And let's go ahead and make that 24. Next, we're going to go ahead and add a little divider beneath it. And I'm not going to format it, but we could adjust it to make it look like the marketing automation one. Next, let's go ahead and drop in our image and our text. So we're going to go ahead and use this featured article or article feature. That's going to give us an image and the text. Let's go ahead and drag that to the left here. And now we have it where we want it. We'll go ahead and adjust this. We'll drop in our health check image. And for the sake of time, let's go ahead and just copy our text. And paste that in. And let's go ahead and drop that in as well. We'll delete that. And there we are. We can go ahead and add padding too and adjust things if we wanted. But very similar to Zoho Marketing Automation, I do like the simplicity of marketing automation more. I think as we dive into Mailchimp, it'll actually be my favorite builder. But you can essentially accomplish everything that we just accomplished in marketing automation with Constant Contact. And of course, if you connect, say, Shopify, you have your different product options and coupons, etc. So that's going to wrap it up for the Constant Contact builder. Next, let's go ahead and take a look at Mailchimp. All right, so then inside of Mailchimp, we would go over to campaigns here. And inside of campaigns, we go ahead and create our first campaign. So let's call this newsletter example. And let's go ahead and create that email. So just like marketing automation, you can choose from a fully designed template, a basic template, or one from scratch, or use your HTML code. We'll go ahead and start from scratch, and we'll see that it does take us straight into the builder, sorry. And if we go here, went ahead and pulled in our logo, because the brand is set up with our logo, but we don't actually need this, so we can just go ahead and delete this. But just like the others, we have our images, our header, paragraph, buttons, divider, spacer. We've got a creative assistant, which is cool. It'll take in your brand, and once you have enough campaigns created, you can go ahead and drag this section in, and it's kind of a built-in AI tool. Product recommendations. One thing I do like too about this builder is it gives the option by default, instead of 3, you can actually drop it in 4 columns right next to each other. And I like too, so like the other builders, if I just dropped in an image, and let's go ahead and we'll just add our health check image right now. But if we go back to the builder, we can actually just drop it in right next to each other. And then we can also drop in the paragraph right next to it. Whereas the Constant Contact one, I had to use a pre-designed template, so it just doesn't play as nice. I would have to say Mailchimp is hands down probably the nicest as far as the drag and drop, how well it plays with the various elements over here. So let's go ahead and delete this section here. Oops. We'll remove that block. And now let's go ahead and build out our newsletter like we have with the others. So we'll go ahead and add an image. We have our newsletter banner. Let's go ahead and insert that. And then over here, we can go ahead and hit fill. Easy. I like that it has these features over here. Something that Constant Contact didn't. Next, let's go ahead and we can choose the styles. We can make sure that there's padding. We don't want any padding either, so we can go ahead and delete the padding. And then if we go back over to our builder, we wanted a spacer in between. And then we wanted, let's change the spacer color. Do that light gray. We just want to match the background. I think that's the same color. Yeah. That's close enough for now. And then next we'd go ahead and let's go ahead and, we can leave the image actually, because we're going to need the image, and we're also going to need a header. And if we go over here back, we're also going to need a paragraph underneath that. And let's go ahead and drop in our image. Move the health check. And then from here, let's go ahead and take this section and shrink that down a little. Oh, actually, I forgot. We also need our heading above this. And this will say announcements. And then if we go back over here, we want our divider right beneath that. And I'm not going to adjust it, but we can go ahead and change the thickness. And then next we would, like before, copy our health check. And let's go ahead and format that to the left. Let's go ahead and make that a little bit bigger. And then over here, we go ahead and copy our text, drop that in, format it to the left, and voila. Overall, I would say out of the 3, Mailchimp is probably my favorite as far as ease of use and, kind of giving you what you want as you build it. Super quick, intuitive. I also like, if we were to finish this, we can use this optimize feature, and it's going to go ahead and give us recommendations once we're done of things we might want to fix. So like there's no links for both of these, so let's go ahead and drop in the links for those. So that's going to wrap it up for the builders. Overall though, all three are great. Mailchimp would probably be the winner, then marketing automation, then constant contact. Next, let's go ahead and take a look at journeys. Inside of each of these marketing platforms, we're going to have what's called a journey, a drip campaign, a workflow, basically an email workflow to send off a series of emails or SMS messages or fire off tasks. So how do we do this? Well, we'd create a journey inside of marketing automation. So let's go ahead and view our journey. And for each of these, let's just go ahead and create a journey that is going to be a newsletter sign up. So this is when someone reaches out to you or signs up on your homepage. And what we'll do is we'll create a simple journey for each of these. And you can see we have different templates here. But let's go ahead and start with a template. Just because we don't have some things set up like list, we might run into some errors when building this. All of these platforms have ways to set up forms. So this would be on a form submission or on a list. If you have this tied into your CRM, oftentimes the form is going to write to a field inside the CRM, such as newsletter sign up or newsletter opt-in. And then from there, what you'll do is go ahead and create a segment based on that field update to the CRM. But this also works. And what we can see here is we have our trigger. So that's what's going to trigger them to enter the workflow. And we have a handful of options. If I were to make a video tutorial on each of these, we would be spending about an hour. So I'm just briefly going to touch on the purpose of each of these. So next we have our process. So this is, we can go ahead and check email activity. If they opened it, go ahead and send them this email. Or if they have left it unopened, maybe we want to send them to a different email or send a timer and maybe have a sales rep reach out to them. We can also create random splits for the sake of A/B testing. We can also merge, the pathways, but what this allows us to do is, like, if this were to be a merge here, we could go ahead and merge it the same here, and then this would go into here. But since they're the triggers, they're always going to merge into the first email. Next, we have actions. This is going to be send an email, send an SMS, send a WhatsApp message. We can go ahead and add them to a list, remove them to a list. So let's say if email activity on a certain email was this, let's go ahead and add them to a list or remove them to a list, or we can update scoring, and scoring might trigger them to go into another workflow. We can update stages. We can update their subscription management. We can set a wait condition. We can use webhooks. We can move them to another journey, another drip campaign, another automation. So this would be a common one. So we can see here, if we delete all of this, which I just created, let's go ahead and remove that and just drop this in here. So the way this is going to work is you have your trigger, they fill out the form, they get a time delay 1 day after getting the email, they get their first email. And then after that, we're going to go ahead and push data to the CRM. But before we remove them from the journey, maybe we want to move them to another journey and then exit them out, so they can go ahead and receive another series of emails. But maybe there's a condition here that if they didn't interact with this first email, they will go back to the top with the merge and then receive it one more time before exiting. You can also push data to the CRM. Here we can go ahead and also configure exit criteria. So if they reach their goal, let's go ahead and remove them from this journey. And we can also see here that we could have them re-enter the journey with a re-enter criteria based on a form submission or being added to a list. Next, let's go ahead and take a look at constant contact. So constant contact, they call them automations. We have an SMS, we have a basic one here. Let's just go ahead and create an automation. And let's go ahead and use a template if they have. And we'll just do like a welcome basic for new subscribers. So subscribes for an email. In this case, submitted a form. So they've submitted a form. Since we don't have a form yet, we're going to have to do subscribed to an email first as the trigger. So if anyone subscribes to any of the email lists, they're going to enter this workflow. You can see it's a little bit more simple, because keep in mind Zoho Marketing Automation also ties into other Zoho products. But you get the idea. We have our time delay. We can set a conditional split. Some of these features too, if we edit the email, we can go ahead and choose an email. So we'll go ahead and create one. I guess it's already taken. And then it's going to pull us into our builder here. And let's go ahead and save and close. And it should pull us back to our builder. So we have our first email. Maybe here too, since it's a basic template, we can also send another email. We'll go ahead and add that in here. And you can see how they have the blocks. And it's very linear out the builder, which keeps it simple, but it's not for the most advanced campaigns, like what we can do inside of marketing automation with all of these various triggers and processes. I mean, keep in mind though, the triggers are all listed here. So there's more than just one trigger that we can choose from, which kind of cleans up the rest. And same with like time delays. We can add a time delay here, and we can say wait 1 week or wait 1 day. One thing I like though that I'll point out that marketing automation has that's nice is I don't want emails to go out on work days. So I can also choose, which days of the week I want the email to go out. So overall, at the end, we can go ahead and add and remove them from a list or update a field. But it's a very basic automation builder, and it's one of the newer features inside of Constant Contact. So if you're looking for advanced features, I would probably not go with Constant Contact. Next, let's go ahead and jump into Mailchimp. So inside of Mailchimp, what we'll see here is we have automations on the left, and we will go ahead and we can choose a flow template. So following the other two, like we just did, we'll just do a basic welcome drip. So welcome new contacts, we can see here. And it's going to go ahead and create this automation for us. So signs up, sends an email, looks good. And the new generative AI inside of Mailchimp is going to go ahead and create this for me. So let's go ahead and edit an email builder. And for now, this will do just fine. So we have our email. So let's go ahead and filter who can enter. And let's actually change. If we go to this, let's edit. And let's change the trigger. So we can do an API integration. We could also do contact activity. So in this case, it'd probably be, has a tag. We'd give them a newsletter tag. And then we'll say newsletter, save trigger. So, and we can have another trigger as well. So maybe if they are in a certain segment, we don't have any created yet. So we'll go ahead and skip this for now. So just like before, a few more options here, more than Constant Contact. So we can send an email, send an SMS. Webhooks are extremely useful from time to time. We can go ahead and send a survey email. And we can go ahead and also, if we look here, we can go ahead and set a time delay or wait trigger. So maybe we're waiting for another email to be opened, or based on shopping activity, we can go ahead and say, hey, did they interact with this coupon? No, then we're going to wait, say, until this triggers for them to get the next email. We also set a time delay. And same as before, though, you can only choose, wait 5 days, but it doesn't allow you to choose, which days of the week you want to filter out. And then at the end, you can also update a contact, unsubscribe them, archive them. You can also set some Meta custom integration, custom audience with your Meta Business Suite. So you can go ahead and also integrate Meta into Mailchimp if you need to. Overall, out of the 3 workflow builders, Constant Contact and Mailchimp, they'll get the job done for just setting time delays in basic emails. But if you really want some advanced custom functionality, some A/B testing, some more options based on email interaction, I would probably say marketing automation for this segment is going to be the winner for automations and journeys for drip campaigns. So next, let's go ahead and dive into pricing and take a look at the pricing that all three products have to offer. All three are going to have their professional, enterprise, standard, or if we look at Constant Contact, light, standard, premium, and Mailchimp, premium, standard, essentials, and free. So I went ahead and broke these down to 5,000 contacts for each and what it would cost. So with marketing automation, you'd be running around 48 euros a month. And if we look at Constant Contact, we'll switch this to euros, 149. So you're almost triple, a little over triple what it would cost for marketing automation for 5,000 contacts. And for Mailchimp, if we look at the standard plan, it would be about 100. So marketing automation is the cheapest. Constant Contact's the most expensive, and Mailchimp's kind of sitting there in the middle. I wanted to throw this out there too, because most of you using Zoho or considering using Zoho would probably go with the Zoho One plan. With Zoho One per user, you get 5,000 contacts. So if you have 4 users in your organization all in Zoho One, you instantly get bumped up to 20,000 contacts included with your plan, and you don't have to pay this additional fee here. Next, if we take a look at users, with the 5,000, you would get 15 users on Zoho Marketing Automation, and then you get 3 users here, 12x your contact, so 60,000 emails is what you'd be able to send out. And if we look at Mailchimp, you get 5 users, so 2 more than Constant Contact, and also 60,000. And with marketing automation, there is the number of visitors, contacts, counts times 5. So 5,000, 25,000. So slightly less on marketing automation. So overall, I mean, the winner here with price is clearly going to be marketing automation, not playing favoritisms. I do know some users were concerned in the past about deliverability issues with Zoho's mail servers. I can say from plenty of clients in our own personal experience, we haven't had any issues, and clients that have been worried about it, Zoho for an additional fee does offer a dedicated IP that you could pay a monthly fee for to have your own dedicated IP to send your emails out. As long as you have your DKIM, DMARC, and SPF records properly set up, you really shouldn't have any deliverability issues. So let's go ahead and wrap this video up, and we'll go ahead and finish with looking at the various integrations each product has to offer. Inside of marketing automation, if we go to the coggle and then integrations under apps, we can go ahead and connect an app. So by default, you have all of your core Zoho platforms that you want to connect with: Zoho Forms, Zoho CRM, Zoho Survey, maybe sometimes one of these other applications such as Zoho Backstage if you're running events, or Big In by Zoho CRM. But you can also choose other platforms. So if we go to sales, we can see some of the main players like Dynamics, Sugar CRM, Salesforce, HubSpot are all in here. If you have HubSpot, though, you're probably not going to be connecting it to marketing automation. You know, it is missing some, though. Like, it doesn't have Monday.com or like Pipedrive, but you can see that there are a handful of options to choose from. Same with marketing. You have like Eventbrite, SurveyMonkey, and if we look at social media, we can connect the main ones: LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and X. A lot of core integrations. I would say I feel like marketing automation doesn't have as many options as the other platforms. Well, let's go ahead and take a look at Constant Contact next. So not in settings, but down here under integrations, we can see that they have approximately 57 integrations, so maybe close to the same as native integrations as marketing automation. However, with Zaps, you can reach almost 8,000 different options that you can schedule out with Constant Contact. So we look here, we can go ahead and connect WordPress with a generic sign-up form. We've got our Zoho connection, Salesforce, Square, Shopify, Wix, your various email builder platforms. Zapier, Bigin, eBay, Magento, if you're using Adobe. Canva could be nice for integrating images, Instagram, your social platforms. So if we look at sales and CRM, you know, you've got One Page, Wise Agent, so they've got a few more integrations to offer than Zoho does as far as sales go. But it's just nice knowing that you can get on this platform and connect with some of the main players out there. Lastly, let's go ahead and jump into Mailchimp. So just like Constant Contact, if we click on integrations, we can go ahead and choose what integrations we want to connect with. So for sales, your CRM is probably going to be under contact management. From here, you can see you've got Shopify, QuickBooks Online, Pipedrive, Mailchimp for Salesforce, Monday.com, Zoho CRM. So you got a lot more built-in native integrations with Mailchimp than you do. You have Zendesk. So you've got a lot of the main platforms that businesses are going to use and wanting to integrate with here directly inside of Mailchimp. All right, that's going to wrap it up for this product comparison tutorial. I hope you found this video useful. If you did, please hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps out our channel. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments section below. In regards to the 3 products, my final thoughts, I know we're a Zoho partner, but for the pricing and all of the features built into marketing automation, I would have to give marketing automation the winner for these 3 products, with the runner-up being Mailchimp, because if I had to choose another product with all of the native integrations Mailchimp has, its competitive pricing, and personally, it has my favorite builder, though the workflows aren't as complicated as you could get with marketing automation. It also has a better workflow builder too than Constant Contact. Overall, all 3, some things I didn't cover too. All 3 have a form builder, so you can do sign up forms where you don't need to buy a third-party form builder, such as like Gravity Forms or Zoho Forms or Ninja Forms, and they all have surveys. So there are some other nice built-in features that I didn't cover today within these products. But overall, for your money and everything you get, I would give it to Zoho Marketing Automation. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this video and thank you for tuning in.